close enough to 5 o'clock. The public agenda that most of you probably have shows us going through the revenue neutral hearing, and then the budget hearing, and then at the beginning of the regular council meeting doing the flag salute. I think it makes more sense to just go ahead and do the flag salute at this time. They're all public governmental hearings. So if you'd stand and join me, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Please, if you have phones or other electronic devices that might have a ring tone or whatever, please silence those, and we will get started here in just a second. I wanted to address to the council, before we go into the public hearings, obviously the parties appearing have a right to speak. We have pretty much, well, not pretty much, we have decided to give persons that speak during the regular meetings 5 minutes. I don't think there's any reason to shorten that, but we could. So I just want to bring that up, and so we set the ground rules for these hearings just like we would on a regular council meeting. Does anyone see any need to do anything other than the 5 minutes we've allowed previously?
Fine with me.
Okay, very good.
I got the time.
You've got the time? Eric, I'm very nervous. That's not an explosive device now, is it? Time will tell, huh? Okay, well played. At this point in time, I would like to call the public hearing for the revenue neutral rate hearing to order. We will proceed as laid out on the agenda with a public comment section, and then we'll deal with the resolution that will be before the council tonight. Before we dive into that, I want to just make an opening remark or two. Some things that I just want to hope that public does remember or does know, and I'm speaking only for myself. I'm not speaking for anyone else on the council when I say this, but our city mill levy, when this council came into office, it was set by the outgoing council, the previous one, was 74.783 mills. That was for 2024. So that's the one we inherited. Last year, when we had this same hearing, we lowered that mill levy for 2025, the year we're in now, from 74.783 mils to 70.728, so about 4 mils. That was not at the revenue neutral level, but it was a reduction in the tax levy. This year, what's before you would be, what we'll be proposing would be to keep it at that level of 70.728. If that is what we end up doing, what that will mean is that the 2026 mill levy would also be 4 mills lower than what the mill levy was in 2024. The 2026 will be lower than the 2024. Now, the logical response to those comments would be, well, yeah, but the assessed valuation is up, and so a mill brings in more money than it did before. And that's an accurate statement, and certainly one that we need to address. And I want to just say this with regard to it. Not everyone's taxes are going to go up if our mill levy doesn't go down. If your city tax amount goes up in the next year, then the value of your property went up as well. It's based on assessed valuation. If your valuation stayed the same, your city tax is going to stay the same. And if your value of your property went down, then the amount you're going to pay for us for city taxes is going to go down as well. We don't set the mill levy, or excuse me, we don't set the valuation. That's the kind of a combination of the state and county. County does it, but the state kind of mandates how it's done. What we need to grow this city is to have our assessed valuation go up, not in a way that some might consider to be artificial, which is that post-COVID real estate just exploded all over the place, and everyone thinks at some point there's liable to be a crash. What we need is to have new businesses in this town and have a lot of new houses from new people moving to town. We need a lot of little kids running around, because what comes with little kids is young parents. And those are people who are in the working force, they're buying things, they're building houses, they're remodeling houses, and they want to have a place to shop locally if possible. We have to be able to make Marion make it thrive, make it more vibrant economically, so that we're not reliant upon the valuation of your house. But that is kind of where we are now. I also want to point out that inflation impacts the city just like it impacts your pocketbook. The equipment we use costs more. The materials and chemicals we buy cost more. Our salaries have to be higher to keep our good people here, because most of the good people we have, and I think we have a very large number of good people working for us, most of those people could go elsewhere and make more money. They're here because they want a small town life or whatever, but we have to at least be competitive. So that's the end of my speech. And with that, the revenue neutral rate hearing already being open will now be open for comments. So if anyone wishes to speak to the issue of the revenue neutral rate, come on up and just speak into the microphone here. Okay. No one? I'm a little surprised by that, you can probably tell. But given that there is no one indicating a desire to speak to the issue of whether or not we remain revenue neutral or exceed the revenue neutral rate, I'm going to declare the hearing to be over, the public comment portion of the hearing, and ask if there is discussion among the council. No? Okay. What's before you is Resolution 25-07. If there's no discussion, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve resolution number 25-07.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Box a second.
No, Burkholder.
Oh, I'm sorry, was that you?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Burkholder second. Resolution 25-07, a resolution of the City of Marion, Kansas to levy a property tax rate exceeding the revenue neutral rate. Whereas the revenue neutral rate for the City of Marion was calculated as 63.967 mils by the Marion County Clerk, and whereas the budget proposed by the governing body of the City of Marion will require the levy of a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate, and whereas the governing body held a hearing on September 2nd, 2025, allowing all interested parties desiring to be heard an opportunity to give oral testimony. That's what we had just done. Whereas the governing body of the City of Marion, having heard testimony, still finds it necessary to exceed the revenue neutral rate. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing body of the City of Marion as follows. The City of Marion shall levy a property tax rate exceeding the revenue neutral rate of 70.728 mils. In other words, we're setting our rate at 70.728 mils. This resolution shall take effect and be enforced immediately upon its adoption and shall remain in effect until future action is taken by the governing body. If passed, it'll be adopted on this second day of September. September. Having done that, again, any discussion, or are you ready to vote? Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Tim Bachta,
Aye.
Kevin Burkholder,
Aye.
Mayor Powers,
Mike Powers is fine. Aye.
Zach Collett,
Aye.
Amy Smith. Aye.
Okay, the vote passes unanimously with all council members voting to accept the resolution or adopt the resolution exceeding the revenue neutral rate. Janet, don't let me get out of here tonight until I have signed your original copy of that, because you need to attest to my signature. I would like to move then to the public hearing for our public hearing on our 2025 budget. Let me look at my notes here. Brian, you and I had talked with regard to our budget. Why don't you go ahead and give this brief synopsis of whatever you feel like saying, and then I'm going to speak to it just a little bit as well.
Okay. By the motion you just passed, the city will generate an additional about $96,000 in revenue. The lion's share of that revenue will go into the reserve fund as we work to build our reserve in the event that for some reason the city was unable to draw revenue from anywhere for a certain period of time. We were almost 3 months in reserve built up before this budget. Now we'll be able to go beyond 3 months a little bit. And then the other part of the money that's not in the reserve will be used to help pay off illegal debt through our insurance company, the deductible we have to pay. Slight amount of that money will also go into the general fund. But again, the bulk of it is to go in so that we can operate if revenue all of a sudden ceased to exist due to some kind of calamity in the community or whatnot. We have a 3-month reserve already for utilities. We're trying to, it's been recommended to us that we go to a 6-month reserve, and that can be helpful. I think I had relatives in Greensburg, Kansas when the tornado went through, and virtually white clean streets, and so it was only grass and sidewalks. You lose a lot of your tax revenue real quick that way. Not that we would hope anything like that would of course happen here, we hope not, but should it, we need to have ourselves in a position that we can do so. Now, that reserve also could be used if there's grant opportunities, and we have one upcoming for parks. We also have the historical group thing that we've applied for that will require some matching money. Then that reserve fund could be used to maybe help meet some of those matches as well and not dig into our general fund and affect our services negatively to the community.
I want to speak to the process by which we produced the budget. And I'll give Scott warning, I'm going to come to you just for whatever comments you might feel are appropriate whenever I shut up. When this council took office, and this is, you get tired of hearing the little boy cry wolf, and you get tired of hearing the little boy whine about something too. But it just kind of is what it is. We didn't have a city administrator. We were really behind the 8 ball on many things. And when budget rolled around, I felt like we were good to get one put together. And luckily, we had Mark McInerney, the interim, to work on that. And luckily, we have Scott Lloyd and his group, which is outstanding, to act as our leaders in regard to that. To the extent they legally can. They keep us legal, I guess I'll put it that way. I really, and I said it, and I went on record with it, and I'll stand behind the fact that we did not do what I said we would do, which is I said that this year you would see a much different process, that the making of the sausage, so to speak, a lot of it would go on in public meetings where you could see it. Those of you in the room and those of you who would, watch on YouTube or on cable TV. It didn't happen, and how frustrated I am about that, none of you care, and you shouldn't, because it's not on you, it's on me. But with the transition over, we did start out, we had a meeting here and Mark went through some of the budgets or the funds with everyone in the public meeting. And then we just lost it. We didn't lose the budget, but we lost that public portion of it. The budget was being worked on all along by city staff and by Scott's people. But you deserve better. And I've looked at other cities' websites. I've looked at things that they have on there you can look at and just look at it and kind of follow through. Oh, that's what that part of the budget's about. Oh, this is what that part of the budget's about. And we should be that way. Part of the reason that Mark is sitting here is his background in public information and his ability to work with websites and things of that nature. What?
I'm the other
Mark, did I say Mark?
I'm the other Mark.
Compliment.
It's fine, Mark's a great guy.
That's really embarrassing, but I'm
It's okay.
embarrassed enough as it is. We'll add that in there too.
It's
Okay. Brian, we hired Brian. And I would invite the newspaper, I told Phyllis this when she talked to me previously. I would invite the public, if next year isn't dramatically different in the process, not necessarily the outcome, but the process, then somebody I'll own up and somebody call me out, because I will deserve it. But I feel very comfortable, and the guy over here named Brian and I have had several conversations about, and we've already got the blueprint of how we want to go about doing it, and we're going to start a lot earlier on that process. So I apologize that the process wasn't more right there so everyone could see it. I stand by the work product. I'm fine with where we are, but I think you would feel better if you saw how we got to this point. Okay, enough of that. Public confession. Scott, would you want to speak to the process a little bit, please?
Yes. So my name's Scott Lloyd. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I've been working on Marion clients for several years. And I might explain just a little of the background. So when you're the auditor and you do the budget, you can literally give them statutory guidance. You can help them with the forms, putting numbers in and everything. And you can give them different types of input and comparisons to other cities. For example, we took 5 other cities, and this was just like last couple weeks, just to see where they were at. And Mark and I did that 2 years ago, just to see, because what was happening was the unencumbered cash balances of the city of Marion had dwindled. And when Brian talks about 3 months, one of the things that we do governments all across Kansas. There is really a challenge right now with the revenue neutral rate. And what has happened, it's the way I explain it is when I ask people, I just had a couple county hearings last Monday, and there was several people that showed up. But I ask them as an individual, if you locked your salary for 7 years and had no increases, and you have a 30% increase or more in inflation, where's that money come from? Well, on a personal level, that would mean you probably what? Get it from your savings, or you put it on credit cards. And cities cannot have a line of credit. Like if I had that situation in there, I would go out and I would have to go to the bank, get a line of credit, help me get through a tough area. In governments, you can't. So about 20 years ago, this 3 to 6 months of revenues, it's an old rule that my dad, all of us that are older, my dad taught. And so that process of Mark and I looking at the funds 2 years ago and trying to figure out, just giving him guidance, and Mark took on that journey. And then Brian came on, and we started again looking at that process this year. We transferred the economic development money to its own fund, so that could be tracked. That was a question that was asked, I think at last year's or the year before, actually, maybe. And that's by itself, that's the sales tax. The general fund, I was just looking here, is about 2.68 months at the end of '24. And 3 to 6 months is a good thing. And so what's happening with R&R is a lot of these governments, especially counties, are running out of money because they're in that situation, revenue neutral, if they're trying to stay at revenue neutral, and inflation's went up, and so that's what we're trying to work through here even. And cities have a little bit better because they have utilities, and utilities help maybe cover. So like transferring, you see it, we do it on this budget, transferring from the utility fund to the general fund, because we moved the sales tax money to its own fund. So just those processes. And then when I came back, I've been here at least 2 or 3 times, having meetings with you all, explaining the budget, going through that. The last time I come back, we did take those 4 or 5 cities, and you are in the area, and a couple that I was showing you that we audit, 3.07 is probably one of the lowest of the cities that we looked at. It just takes time to build that.
And just, you're talking months. We have
I'm talking
3.07
months, three months, and like one that we audit, Kingman is it's a little bit bigger than you, but they might have like 9 or 10 months. So there's quite a bit of difference there. And if you have, what if the water lines break? Do you have the money to pay for it? Well, that's in the water and utility, but that takes money that you can't maybe transfer to the general, and you have to use it over here. So that's why we want the general fund, because the general fund can pay for any expenditure of the city. So that's why the general fund needs to be healthy. But that whole process, we've had some great conversations, and Brian's learning, because being here. But I look forward to working with Brian, and he's very knowledgeable in the government area. And I don't know if there's anything else you want me to say, but that's kind of the overview.
I just wanted you to say whatever you felt like saying, so thank you. Any council member have anything to say? Otherwise, I'm going to open it for public comment.
One thing I just kind of wanted to share was, it was our goal, or mine anyway, as well, to have our, the budget and that looked at more in a public sessions, that to let us hash out more of the details. And we were unfortunate that we weren't on schedule really to meet that this year. But also to recognize that we're not totally incompetent in really knowing what's going on with the budget, because every meeting throughout the year, we get the schedule of claims, we get the money that's actually being spent on what specific items throughout the year. And for me, it's been for the last 2 years to see where that money is going, which we still have to approve. So, yeah, we didn't really have a lot of input in the details, the fine details of the current budget moving forward. However, that doesn't mean that we didn't really see where all that money has been in the previous budget to have a good idea of what we're looking at moving forward. So I just want to point that out.
Thank you, Tim. With that, we'll open the hearing for public comment, if anyone wishes to comment on the 2026 budget, 2025 budget.
It's a quick question.
You bet,
So,
Ryan.
And this may be.
Just state your name.
Sorry, Ryan Newell.
Okay, go ahead, Ryan. I know who you are, but,
And this might have actually, probably should have tied in, I guess, the revenue neutral rate, but, so this budget is accounting for adding cash reserves.
yes,
correct, to-
That's part, yeah.
And that's coming from the revenue neutral rate.
yes.
So what happened prior when the revenue neutral rate was so high with those cash reserves?
So the revenue neutral rate's not the high rate. The revenue neutral rate is based on the same tax dollars as last year. So what happens is the dollars from last year are locked. And what revenue neutral rate does is it goes up or down based on the assessed value going up or down. So if the dollars are locked, the assessed value goes up, the revenue neutral rate goes down. So that's why the revenue neutral rate this year is 63.967. And they chose to go with the same mill levy as last year, and that is the 70.728. So that's the gap right now, the difference between what they're levying and what the revenue neutral rate is. And so that's where people get a little bit confused. So that's why we are going above the revenue neutral rate here, about 7 mills, but it's actually 4 less than 2 years ago. And that money helps build reserves. You can't really build reserves if you don't have the income. It's like at home, you know, if you don't have the income coming in. This is all over the state. So like your assessed value went from 13 million roughly to 14,446,000. And so what you also tell people, you know, some of this, like I had this situation just happen in McPherson. I live in Galva, and somebody went to buy a house, and they were gonna pay 80,000 over the asking price. And someone came in after that, because they wanted that house so bad, they offered more than the 80,000. And then what the appraiser has to do is they have to look at the market value of each of those sales for the next year. So we're like, I don't know how it's going here in Marion, but like in some communities, what's happening is these comparison of sales, that's what drives up your assessed value so much in each of the properties. Because when they look at yours and they compare yours to the other sales, that jack the price. So like I think mine on Main Street in Galva went up about 25,000 last year. I didn't do a thing to it, okay? Didn't do anything to my house. The thing is though, I still wouldn't sell it for what the county has it valued at. And that's hard, but that's where I'm at, and that's where a lot of the, you know, the property owners are. But those people that have that increase, they're gonna pay more taxes even though the mill levy didn't go up like we were talking. It stayed the same as last year.
And then, so with the budget wise, it's essentially the same in each department as last year, but we weren't filling positions last year, so that money didn't roll over to this year's budget, did it?
It's in, it went in, at least parts of it went into the reserve fund that we're building. We didn't, some of that money didn't get spent because, as you said, we had 3 cops who were budgeted for 5 or whatever the case may be. Or it might have gone into other expenses that came up because we did have expenses that were higher than we thought.
Okay. So essentially, we did build reserves from the last
Yeah.
budget, and this budget then is projected to
Build
even
reserves.
more reserves,
Hopefully,
hopefully, unless
Yeah.
it's being spent.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you,
All
Ray.
right, appreciate
yeah,
you.
thanks for the
Thank you.
question.
Anyone else? If no one else wishes to speak at this point, then I would declare the public comment portion of the meeting to be over. And council, is there any discussion concerning the 2026 budget? Okay. With regard to the proposed 2026 budget, do I have a motion?
I move we accept the 2026 budget as composed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Boxa moves and Smith seconds to approve the budget as presented. At this, we have motion and second. Any further discussion? Any discussion from anyone?
I'll just say one quick thing. In the special meeting that we had last week, I just would like to, I mean, it's kind of in regards to this, but I think Scott did a really nice job of going over this and explaining it to us in depth, taking a lot of time to do that. We did spend a lot of time going through this and looking at it, so I'm thankful for that.
That was very helpful, and I felt kind of bad because I don't know what time you got home, but I was tired and I didn't have to drive clear to Galva.
It's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Today I'm probably tired, or I got up at 3:45, and that lazy boy's gonna feel pretty good tonight.
Well, I'm not in the mood to feel sorry for you today.
It's okay, no problem.
With no further discussion, unless there is some, I will call for a vote on the motion. We'll go ahead and since we're dealing with the budgets here, we'll, put our money where our mouths is. And would you call the roll again, Madam Clerk?
Tim Boxa,
Aye.
Kevin Burkholder,
Aye.
Mayor Powers,
Aye.
Zach Collett,
Aye.
Amy Smith.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with all council members voting in the affirmative. With that, the public hearing with regard to the budget is also adjourned, and we'll move to our regular city council meeting. I'll call that meeting to order, and we'll proceed with the approval of the agenda. Anyone?
I might make one mention of something, Mayor.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So, once the budget approved, then you all would need to sign the 26 budget, and then that will be what is turned over to the county clerk by October 1st. I mean, we got a little time here, but you can, as you're looking, this happens a lot, I'm just giving you a heads up, as Brian's looking at this, you mentioned something that's very important. When you take each of the department heads and you're looking at those reports and you're looking at expenses one by one, then the department heads are looking at their reports by department. As Brian's really, I've talked to Brian quite a bit, Brian's working on that, and that's awesome, because as you go through the rest of 25, these are ways that you can look at opportunities to help the department or help build reserves based on what's expenditures, there's efficiencies, and we've talked about that quite a bit. And then when you go into the 26, which will start 1/1/26, you can still work on those departments, because I think he brought it up. This happens quite a bit right now, is where you have a department and you have maybe, like the police, you said we're 2 down. I had a road and bridge department in a county that's 9 down, and you can't change really the budget because you need those 9 people. So that really makes it hard in the budgeting world to do that. And so as you look at those opportunities along the way, we're setting in a lot better position than we were 2 or 3 years ago. And we still got, room to improve, but keep up the good work and just, sign the budget. And then if you need something, holler, okay?
Thank you
And
very much.
I'm gonna probably head out.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
I don't blame you for that. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Appreciate you. With regard to the agenda that's been presented, does anyone have any objections? If not, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
I'll second. All in favor, aye.
All right.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously. How about the consent agenda? Anyone want to pull anything out of that for questions or discussion? If not, I'll move to the approval of the consent agenda as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Burkholder seconds. All in favor, discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. We are now to the public comments portion of the council meeting, and we will have a public forum later. The public comments is really so if anyone wants to speak on the issues that would be potentially worked on here tonight, that would include a proclamation with regard to Public Power Week, if you have a strong opinion on that. The Nisley Recycling Program, the code compliance by the Walton State Bank with regard to a repair or tear down order, and then ordinance 1520, which is the ordinance we discussed previously with regard to solar arrays. So anyone wish to comment on any of those items? Seeing no one, we will move on from that. The proclamation regarding Public Power Week. Has everyone on the council had an opportunity to review that? It was in your packets.
Yep.
Do you need me to read it to you?
I think we're good.
Thank you very much. I would ask then that by a vote that the council join me in making the proclamation. So we'll just.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Is there any unique things that go on that are involved with proclaiming this Power Week from October 5th to 11th? Like, I just didn't know if there's any special events
There's different
scheduled
activities
or
that they
activities?
do throughout the month of October, and then you get the big trophy if you're the city that does it the best or gets the most points.
And it's an
And
opportunity
this
for
is one of
you,
the ones that we had to do in order to get started.
To get some
and
points.
you can appreciate the power.
Keeps us warm and cool, right? Keeps things on? Yeah. Thank you. That's all
I think this probably is more, I know they always do probation officer appreciation week in the court system. I think it's just reaching out to those who work in this particular portion and saying, hey, we do recognize you're out there doing good work.
Gotcha.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's our opportunity to thank and appreciate our power line workers, everyone that makes sure we can turn a light switch and have light illuminate, or the TV come on, or the computer run, or recharge our phone, or whatever it takes. You know, for their efforts when they're out there when it's less than desirable weather, respond to emergency calls for tree branches and power lines, et cetera. The gauntlet was dropped to us by KPP, Kansas Power Pool, to come up with some ideas, so I've challenged our team to come up with some ways we can show our work and things during that week. So we'll post some of those items on Facebook, and I don't know what we've done in the past, but we'll try to endeavor to do something different this year or more, as the case may be.
Well, it's a good thing we're not scheduled for the second week of January, so
That's
might
right.
be a little more positive outcome.
All right. All in favor, all who, I hate to really put a vote to this because it's a mayoral proclamation, but does anyone object to my making this proclamation?
No.
No.
All right.
Proclaim
Mike,
away.
I will sign it, Janet, when we get done here. Representatives from the Nisley Company, would you like us to skip you and go on and do some other stuff, or would you like to come up now?
We're Walton State Bank.
Oh, you're Walton State Bank?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I was really a little worried because I didn't think Walton State Bank was here, so, all right. Well, the Nisley, I'm glad you're not them because they really don't need to be here. Brian, this is to you.
Yeah, this is the agreement that Nisley Brothers is taking over the recycle program as they did the first part of August,
Yep.
if I remember correctly. Okay, and that's ongoing. If you need recycle services, the city's no longer doing that, and you may contact Nisley Brothers and they will help you. They pick up on Fridays, as I understand.
That's where they picked up at my house.
Yep, exactly. So, this is the agreement that says we're allowing them to be the vendor to do that. There's no money transaction between us and Nisley Brothers involved in this. And there's a 3-year deal that can be renewable auto, or if we want to change something, we have that option to do in 3 years.
This has been before you once before, and then it was amended by conversations that Brian had with City Attorney Brian Bena, and I had a small involvement in that as well. So what is proposed now is what you have in your packet. They're already here doing the service. We really need to get this enacted. I would move that we approve, we approve the agreement with the Nisley Recycling Program and allow the city to enter into that agreement. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Fox, a second. Discussion or questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Janet, get that to me too, please. Okay, Walton State Bank. I apologize for saying you look like
No
recyclers. Just a little background, you all, well, and James, you might want to move up here in case we have a question for you. Everyone remembers a meeting or two ago, we did the multiple properties, one being the building over on Main Street that we've got taped off right now. And Walton State owns the building, and so we'll go to you.
I'm Carl Swartz with Morris Lang Law Firm. I'm the bank's counsel.
I'm Jeff Warden, I'm the president of the bank.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And I've been in discussions with Brian Bena about this, and so I asked him if it would be helpful for some of us to be here to answer any questions the council has on this matter. There was currently direction to the bank to have its an asbestos survey and partial demolition done by September 5 to get into code compliance. That has not occurred, but I wanted to give you an update on where things stand at this point. the bank has an agreement in principle, they don't have a signed agreement to sell this property to another person. I don't know what that party's plans are for the property. In connection with that proposed sale, we obtained title commitment and learned, because the bank's title came through a tax foreclosure sale and sheriff's deed, title company will not insure over that. And so require that we either find the prior owners, Larry L. Smith and Barbara L. Smith, and get a deed from them, or we quiet title. From the bank standpoint, bank did not want to start spending money on the property until it was satisfied it owned it. I will tell the council, when I looked at the tax foreclosure, does not appear to me that there was probably adequate service of process on the Smiths who owned the property before. And so I think from that standpoint, we do need to quiet title. And so what we've asked for through Brian Bean has asked for a little more time so that the bank could quiet title to the property, so we're satisfied we own it, have good title that we can assign over, and give us time to accomplish that, and then get the property into compliance through us or our successor. I have filed that quiet title action because we were unable after due diligence to find the prior owners, and we went down several rabbit holes trying to find them, and were unsuccessful. So we have filed, we have to publish service on them, and under the statute, we have to give at least 41 days to answer. So that answer date under our publication service is October 8th. So we will anticipate that we will have a written agreement with the party acquiring the property, that we will be able to close fairly soon after October 8th. I'm assuming that no one's gonna appear, and we're gonna get a default judgment on that quieting title. I don't know, and I don't know, Jeff maybe can speak more to that. I'm not sure you have more information on that, on whether the bank or our purchaser will do whatever remediation is necessary. We'll tell the council that the party doing the asbestos survey was in the property today, and we expect to have that report by end of the week. Was that what he's told us?
Yeah.
So we're just looking for a little more time. I know the bank has owned this property about 10 years. I don't know, and no one is at the bank who knows why we acquired it the way we did, through a tax foreclosure as opposed to through a mortgage foreclosure. I don't know what happened there. It was 10 years ago, and for whatever reason, it was acquired through the tax foreclosure. So we faced this title issue, and we're now trying to clean that up so that we can convey good title to another party. I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, in terms of time, I anticipate we would close fairly quickly after the 8th. It might depend on what the survey shows and what we need to do. Our preference would be to allow time. I think we could close by mid-October to allow our purchaser time. I believe the purchaser will probably do the remediation. I do not know. I don't think the bank knows what that party plans to do with the property, whether it's going to raise it, whether it's going to do something else to try to rehab that property. I don't know. So we'd like a little time for that buyer to get into compliance after we close.
Anything?
And I think our greatest concern was that the asbestos survey be done, knowing what happens if it comes down, and once not done, then
Right.
it's a world of hurt for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately us if you walked away from it. So I'm relieved to hear that that's being done. Hopefully it'll come in favorable to you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I told the bank, one option is to take the position we don't have good title to it, we'll just disclaim. and it'll be whoever's. I don't think that's best for anybody, and so, you know, we do want to be responsible in that regard. The former judge is laughing at me.
I'm just impressed.
So, looks like we didn't get good. But anyway, you know, what we want to do is get it taken care of. The current bank ownership has owned the bank 2 years and has been, I think, try and have the property listed since they've taken it over. So we finally found someone willing to take it off our hands, and we're trying. We just need a little bit more time. We'll know more, I think, right after we get the report on the asbestos survey.
So I want to go to James, but, because he's our boots on the ground out there, but I know that generally speaking, in these situations, you know, we want to try to be cooperative if we can. I mean, you know, we can try to be, I guess, tough or something, but I'm not sure what that accomplishes. The main thing would be that we don't end up with a big pile of asbestos-laden rubble. So,
Laying on someone who was walking by.
well, that's
I
true
would say
too,
that's,
yeah.
That's
to
more
me, is the
important.
biggest concern is the safety aspect of it.
Well, we're both worried about the same thing, which is a collapse. I just never thought
Right.
we'd be landing on somebody.
I
but okay.
haven't been by to look at the property, but I believe the letter from the city directed the back third being demolished. I assume that's where
Just the
the,
addition on the back.
yeah, where it's the most serious, yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think?
Well, I feel real good about the asbestos survey being done, you know. You know, being in there once, I don't think there's probably gonna be any asbestos in there, but I would ask it if there is, to just get it out as quick as we
Yeah.
can, you know, and wait for the rest of it till after the close,
Mhm.
you know, and say maybe by October 20th, you know, you say mid-October, by the,
Yeah,
towards the end of
yes.
October, set it for the first council date.
Yeah, I think, as I said, I think we'll be able to close after that answer date, the 8th, I hope to have the default judgment quieting title by the 9th or 10th, and so if we could give the buyer a little time there, but,
Well, my thought was the first meeting in November. That at that point in time, either we'll be good,
yeah,
or
I think that's
then
right.
we'll, my thoughts, you,
I'm assuming that your potential buyer is aware that we've issued the,
Yes.
so, I mean, they know all this stuff that's going on, so if you close somewhere after the 8th, this isn't gonna come as a surprise to them,
No,
and then we're
the
starting back from.
buyer's aware
Okay.
of the issue and where that stands. We've been transparent on that.
Okay.
And we weren't sure at first if he was gonna foot the bill and do the survey, or we just decided we were gonna get it done.
Okay.
So we got that
The only thing
underway.
holding up the sale was getting title on it.
Okay.
So it was basically a done deal until the title company said,
Yeah.
we're not gonna insure that, so. Quick question, so if there is some asbestos in there, you guys gonna have it removed? Just so-
Yeah, and I don't know for sure in the discussions between the bank and the buyer, if the buyer's gonna step in and go ahead and acquire and do that, or if we're gonna do that, but
So somebody will have to take care of
or- yes, yeah, and we'll communicate with the city on our progress on that as it goes forward in the plans. Should that be through Brian or through you or both?
Brian.
Okay.
Through me, it's fine.
Be enough.
thoughts, council? Somebody want to make a motion?
I was just gonna also say, if it does get closed earlier, I think if they could, on the 20th, we have another meeting. Allowing a meeting before we would decide would be helpful if the buyer was to
October
close.
20th.
I'm sorry, yeah, October 20th. So if it closed before that and they were able to make it to the October 20th meeting, that would be very helpful to us. So by November, we're not just
That'd be
getting
perfect, yeah.
2 more weeks out trying to move
Understood.
things forward, so.
So was there a motion in there
No, I
somewhere?
was just.
I make a motion that we, how do I word this? Delay the demolition order to reassess the first meeting in November.
Assess progress.
There we go. Thank you.
November 3rd.
The 3rd?
Yes.
November the 3rd.
Perfect.
That's
Hey,
my motion.
I'll second that. Discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. So, yeah, just stay in touch with
Yeah. All
Brian.
right,
or
much
Brian or
appreciated.
Jake. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you
guys.
coming out.
Thanks for taking care of it.
That takes us back then, Brian, to you to
Yes.
talk about the ordinance 1520.
Yes, ordinance 1520 is to amend the city of Marion's current solar generation policy based on state law that went into effect July 1st of 2025. In the state law, there was changes made, and we need to adjust accordingly. It took a bit of time for the KMU, if I remember right, James will correct me, to get to KPP and then get to us. James has been very instrumental in reviewing what we got from KPP and sent some things back to them to help them clear up their document as well. And we made a few provisions in this ordinance today. The gist of it is that we're going to change the application fee process slightly. Every time an application comes into the city, James and Stephen and Electric have to review those plans and approve those for interconnection with our system. There's a $500 processing fee to do that. It's been that there's been one fee, and unfortunately the applications that have come in were not up to date and took several times to review, so it increased staff time to review them over and over again. So we've allotted that if additional corrections have to come in, it's additional $500. So we're encouraging the folks that want to do solar programs to get that right the first time, and therefore save some resources, taxpayer money, by not tying up more time for James and Stephen to review those plans. If that happens, of course, we'll gladly look at them again, but we need to recoup that cost. So that's one of the changes. Another change in that is that in the old plan, we pay, if they sell solar generated electricity to the city, we pay 1.5 times our rate to them. In the new plan, we pay 1-to-1. It's the same rate we pay them as what we pay for our electric. The other change is insurance requirement. Under the old policy, the solar provider was to carry an insurance policy that protected them if there was an issue affecting our system and or people such as our workers or emergency services. For any reason, their system did not shut down, it was supposed to, and we had personnel move in to take and work on that, thinking it's down, and there was an incident, accident, or whatnot, then their insurance covered expenses, et cetera, on that site. But the state eliminated that, so now it's no longer required. That, in turn, forced us to include a grandfather clause, not a godfather clause. That'd be totally different. The grandfather clause allows the current 4 operators to operate the city to opt out of the insurance that they're obligated under the current agreement and move into the new agreement. So if they want to get out, they have to sign the new agreement, and that'll relinquish them from the obligations and the contractual agreement we have originally. If they want to stay on the current agreement, they can do so. Now, if for any reason they go over 30 days delinquent on insurance policy, then the old agreement would become null and void, and they'd automatically be entered onto the new agreement. That sound right, James?
Yes, it does.
Perfect, there we go. Okay, thank you.
Questions? Comments?
My question was on grandfathering in, and that clarified that.
Okay,
That was my name.
So if they go into the new agreement, then it's everything in the new agreement? The no
Yes.
insurance, the different adjusted
Yeah, old
buyback
agreements
rate?
cease to exist.
Gotcha.
It's this one now that you would adopt.
And there's no limit to how long they can keep that
No.
previous agreement?
Well,
No.
be the limit of the terms of the previous agreement.
I
So
don't
if they
So
think
long
were,
as they're-
yeah.
Was there a term limit on the original
On the
agreement?
previous
No, there is no term limit on the agreement.
That, oh, those agreements have no, oh,
Not-
okay.
not that
All
I've
right,
ever seen.
fair enough,
Not that
fair
I've ever
enough.
seen.
I think
You know,
though,
unless for some reason their equipment breaks down or
That's
if
my
they've
fault.
come in fault with the city, then we can go shut that off. There's actually a disconnect where we can shut them off from our grid, period.
I think
So like-
also if they have, once they have to replace those panels, the new panels would fall under the new agreement then. I thought there was something about, or maybe it was just if they added panels.
If-
Remember we had this
if they
discussion-
change their system in any way, then they'll have to sign up under
A new agreement.
Yeah, it'll require a new set of plans and.
So in some ways-
It's kind of for the life of what they have.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
because those solar panels aren't gonna last
Yeah,
forever, so
right.
there is an end date to them, it's just not it's not in writing anymore.
But I wanted to, and I've talked to Brian about this a few times, and James as well. I want to make sure that we only have 4, but we need to notify them. We need to say, here's the deal. You know, you can, if you feel like it's better for you to come in under this new plan, then fine. And if you want to keep on doing what you're doing, that's fine too. And I would guess it's going to come down to the cost of the insurance
Yeah.
far outweighing
Right.
what little
The
bit we
difference
pay
in
them
the-
back.
yeah.
But that's their call to make.
If they're to go over on the new agreement, are they still paying the $500 processing fee?
Oh,
Good
let's,
question.
let's talk about that. Brian?
I'm sorry, repeat the question, please.
If they're going to go on to the new agreement, will they be paying the $500 processing fee?
Only if there was some kind of plan change or something, otherwise, no.
Okay.
They're already set up, they're operating. This application fee is for a new system that
Okay.
wants to come online into our system.
So you have to review their whole plan for the new ones.
If they were to do some
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
change, yeah.
Got it.
But if they're keeping what they have and they're going with that, fine. Unless they gotta do some kind of upgrade or something, if parts wear out, whatnot, yeah, then they would be in the same as everybody else.
Typically, what happens on a new system is they'll contact us and we'll do the sizing calculations, we'll give them the size, and they'll send in a partially filled out application, and they'll send in an application for a bigger size, they'll send in plans for a bigger size, and they won't have to go, no, we need this information, this here, we need another set of plans for this size. And it just, after about the 4th time, applications, plans, and everything, we finally get it, so we're just right, we can accept it.
The thing I would, and I talked to Brian about this too, I don't want to be perceived as discouraging someone from going down this road if that's what they want to do by saying, yeah, we're going to do 500, 500, 500
Right.
kind of thing. So we need to, I think, it's a communication when someone comes in, make sure we explain to them the issues that have occurred in the past and maybe some direction on how to avoid that. Here's everything we need, you get us all this and it'll be 500 and we're done.
I think the application was pretty nice too, that there were examples like, is this equipment certified, yes or no? If you check yes, this application is incomplete, you know? To where, in the application process, hopefully it makes it pretty obvious that these are required, so you prevent you from wasting money.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we'll make the effort to explain what the expectation level is.
I don't want to be the solar array version of a speed trap.
Right, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
All right. So, further questions for Brian or James? Okay.
Oh, I do have one. I mean,
Okay, go ahead.
I think we talked about this previously, but the city attorney, Bina,
Oh,
has
yeah.
had an opportunity to review this.
Absolutely, he
Right.
approved the grandfather clause and
Okay.
everything that James is working
I
on.
think that's why we delayed it one of the previous
That's
times it
correct.
was on there.
Right,
That's great.
yeah.
So you've reviewed this previously, and now you've seen the new and improved version of it. Do I have a motion to approve it and allow me to sign it on behalf of the city?
I move that we approve the new agreement as it is presented.
Second?
I'll second.
I'm sorry, ordinance 1520.
Right.
That's my number.
Right. Any further discussion? Very well. All in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously. This takes us to our fourth public forum of the night. Anyone have anything on their mind?
Mayor, I have a quick question. A couple of years ago, when we completed the water projects, it left out a bunch of us there up on the hill. Has there been any talk in putting in the budget to finish out those?
I'm not aware of any. I know there's been discussion. Part of the problem is what they want to do, and I'm going to talk out my rear a little bit here, but to be able to loop that, and that's what makes it better for everybody, the better water. But they need more development in order to do that. But I'd be lying to you if I said there's been any discussion of trying to do anything up there right now. I don't remember anyone even bringing it up. You'd be the first, and I'm not saying that in a
I was just
negative way.
curious, it's been so long since they finished it out that
Yeah.
we were told that eventually they were gonna work on the last portion of that water plan project, whatever you wanna call it,
Okay.
to finish out everybody up on the hill.
Uh,
I get that our pipes we're only from 91, but we're starting to come up here, you know, and it'll be 40 years in 31, or what, 50 years, you know, yeah, 40 years in 31.
It means they're probably still 40 years newer than.
I was gonna say, there's some that are 40 years old.
And I noticed that they've been chlorine burning and stuff, as you can tell. I still don't, I mean, there's still gotta be something up there in those, because we're still starting having issues up there.
When you say issues, discoloration?
Discoloration, sediment, it's just, I mean, I don't know if the flushers aren't being flushed.
You will continue to see that until the burnout is complete, which we ended it this morning. I was gonna get to that in our, department head report, but you will see that, and as we switch back, as we did this morning, to the combined, and kind of get the system back to normal, that should start to clear up, Ryan, but if it doesn't, let us know, and we'll come up there and we'll really flush hard.
I just hadn't noticed that flusher too often.
And we moved that flusher 2 weeks ago, so during this burnout, I was trying to get those flushers throughout the community as best I could, just to try to get that chlorine moved around. And kind of as we go back to what I wanna call our normal operation, one will be back up there, that's just
I just noticed
unfortunately.
that flusher does help quite a bit
Mhm.
when it's where it was at previously.
Right.
And then I just, like I said, I didn't know you moved the flushers, but a lot of us is sort of noticing that, I wouldn't say, I guess it would be right about the chemical burn,
Mhm.
that was when it started getting really bad.
And it's kind of one of those, when you notice it like that, it's actually a good thing. It's doing what it's supposed to do, you know, it's really getting the contamination burned out of the line, and that's what you wanna do with a free chlorine burn. So like I said, hopefully as we progress, moving back to normal functioning, that should clear up.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you brought it up. That is an area, it's not the only area in town that dead ends. And as I was explaining to me, and boy, you gotta talk in like small words when you're talking to me about this kind of stuff, but that it has to, you know, you flush it periodically, and that, I guess, makes up for the fact that it isn't looped and moving consistently. And what I just want is some sort of and it sounds like maybe you got it, a plan so that we don't have to wait till somebody complains before we do it. And I didn't even realize that you were involved in that, to be real honest with you, Jason. I thought that was something Tim was doing, but I do want to, you know, either we just make a plan and we put it in the calendar and we do it regularly, or we come up with something else that makes that not necessary.
We do have a plan, and we've had one in prior years, and I think just over the course of times, you know, things happen, and I've shared with Jeff and Dwayne that that's one of my goals, is to get that program back up and going to where it should be.
Okay,
To where,
great.
and again, we've talked a little bit about purchasing more of the automatic flushers, and as we move forward with that and can obtain a few more of those, it'll make it a lot easier for us to target those areas and hopefully keep things moving.
And didn't you say that you guys, the water department was gonna kinda take that back over?
Yes,
As far as
yes.
that plan and,
Mhm.
okay,
Excellent.
And currently we have, so.
okay, thank you.
I'd like to drop a kudo in for their team too, because one of my neighbors, where I'm at right now, came and saw me, saw the city car, told me they were noticing discolored water. And so I said, I'll send them a message right now. Next morning, they were there flushing and attempted to visit with that individual, but found another neighbor and talked to them about it as well. So they were great, appreciative of quick response.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, we will move on then to department reports, and we'll start with Jason, since we already.
I think Ryan stole my thunder, but, no, we ended the chlorine burnout this morning as of 7 a.m. And moved the auto flushers again this week, and will continue to do so. Other than that, I don't have a lot to report. We're starting to see a little decline in production, as we had all the rain, but, we'll see what September and October brings, but other than that, things are moving along.
I got a couple things to do in my report I want to tag on, if I may.
You bet.
They have a manhole cover up near the old water tower. It's on school property. It's not your traditional round manhole cover. This one's rather long. And you'll have to tell them what the specific thing is it covers.
So up at the high school, I'm sure you've noticed maybe, or maybe not, when you've gone up to the Performing Arts Building, if you come around that, the west side, there's what do they call it, a vault box, basically. It has two valves in it that allow us to control, whether we're putting water in the little tower or emptying the little water tower out. There's also an altitude valve in that chamber that allows us to control levels during summer and winter production. There's been a 3-piece cover on that for as long as I can remember, probably even when my brother was in high school up there, so however long ago that was, but long time. They are deteriorating to the point of every time I remove them now, I'm starting to lose chunks of them. So I have given Brian 2 different quotes on a couple companies that I've reached out to on finding a more permanent solution for those, so something to look at.
His second quote, we visited, he gave me a first quote. I asked to see if he could find another one. He did. That came in this afternoon before I could get it digested. I'll bring those to the next meeting.
Okay.
They're not cheap because it's a custom job. It's not something that just fits in from just any place, so.
Yeah, the vault itself is probably, if I'm remembering right off the top of my head, I think it's 12 feet by 5 feet, so it's kind of a unique size.
Yeah.
Is that where students walk, or like where anybody parks at, or?
It is in an area, if you're coming from, again, it's been a long time since I've been to school up there, but if you're coming from the ag shop and you'd be walking towards the old Hill building or to the school itself, sometimes students cross through there. And that's kind of why I started I took some photos and shared them with Brian. It's a definite concern. We either need to rebuild what kind of we have there or find a more permanent solution.
Is it currently a hazard that we need to address as far as like maybe roping it off or any kind of barricading so that people aren't walking over or near it?
It probably wouldn't be a bad idea, actually.
Yeah.
He
Better
no-
safe than sorry.
He
Yeah.
first noticed, because he was up to do some normal inspection up there, and one was ajar, one of the lids was ajar, and we don't know if we got hit by a lawnmower or if somebody, and they're fairly heavy, or someone just curious to see what's under it, that kind of thing. So that's what sparked us to, he's gotten 2 quotes, I'll bring him to the next meeting, and with photos of what we're looking at, or if you want to go up there and take a peek at it, in the meantime, you're welcome to, but if we can
Yeah, I'll get up there tomorrow. I'll put
cone
some-
it off, whatnot, just tape.
Great.
Yeah, so it's safe. And then the other thing Jason has requested is a couple more flushers, which is about $6,000 for 2 more flushers, and there's a place in Salina we can get them from, so
How much did you say?
about 6,000 for two,
How many do we have currently?
6 of them.
6, okay.
yeah. So, you saw the picture probably online. It's that box that sits next to the hydrant that generates water out of it on a scheduled time that they do, usually overnight. Not very helpful in the winter, but usually down in the winter too, so. But it'd be helpful as they do that system next year for us to do it more regularly, to have a couple more, so that request will be coming too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Margot, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings by not letting you go first.
No, that's okay. Art in the Park, Art in the Park, Art in the Park. It's the 20th and 21st. I really appreciate the guys got the banner up at the entrance to the dam road out the reservoir to replace that billboard that the wind got. It looks good. I appreciate it very much. You're going to see your old favorites back at Art in the Park and some new things. Wine barrels are back. The campfire benches from last year, the duck calls from last year. My favorite guy from South Coffeyville, Oklahoma with the yard art, he'll be back. I've got some new things like rock polishing necklaces and crystals with seashells, say that real fast, from Colorado this year. The Amish are coming with some baked goods. I'm excited about that. And the food is looking exciting. You're going to have your usual local people down there. Carlson Barbecue, Bill and Essie's, Wagon Wheel with lime eggs, Gambino's, Salisbury's with their snow cones. And then we're bringing in Vista Burgers from Manhattan. Been trying to get them for several years. Hasn't worked out because they've always had a home game. The guy's real excited about coming. They'll be here both days. He's staying at the Elgin. I'm just real excited about that. It's all about the food, man. And then another new one is Flint Hills Technical College. Just one of their menu items is Philly steak with scratch cheese sauce on homemade soft pretzel hoagie. So that'll be a gourmet stop. You have to check it out. Asian food, hopefully on Sunday. The Flint Hills people will just be here on Saturday, so you get your gourmet stuff on Saturday. And I don't know, it's going to be good. I've got FFA down there for night security, Friday and Saturday night. Very much appreciated. Huge. I don't know anybody else that does that anywhere. And we've started doing that, and I don't know how we not do it, because it just allows people to come in and set up as much as they want the day before and not worry about it. It's just been a really big deal. So we should have about 150 vendors. So
I'm sorry, go ahead, Amy.
No, I said that's awesome.
Oh, the night security, so high school kids?
yeah, and
So-
adult supervisors or sponsors, whatever.
They have directions not to try to make a citizen's
Yeah,
arrest?
they know if they've really got a problem, they call the PD. And, but it's just been a real good deal, so it's worked out real well. And they're gonna try to, the Boy Scouts, when they used to do it, they would come and help people unload and help people load back up. And the FFA, we had a little slow start with that because so many of them are involved in other school things, you know, whether it's a football game or whatever. But they're going to try to do a little more of that this year. And they work for tips, and then they get to do what they want with their tips. And they consider it a community service project. So I just really appreciate it, everybody and all the volunteers. So come to the park.
Thank you.
I don't have a whole lot tonight. Ready for the rain to slow down, or maybe the grass to slow down a little bit, but yeah. The dangerous structures Some of them are coming along real well. We got someone stepped up that I didn't expect was gonna step up, so I'm excited about that. Took some burden off the city because we've been mowing the property also, so that's gonna help out also. The one on West Santa Fe, the 120 West Santa Fe is not going real well, so I'll bring you some more updates later, on a later date on that there, once I contact the owner some more. I don't have anything else, if you have any questions.
Thank you. Chief?
I don't have much either. I do have some good news. We're in the process of hiring a new officer. He's going to be joining us on the 22nd of this month. But other than that, that's all I have to report right now. Do you guys have questions for me?
I just thought, with Margo talking about that and you bringing up about with the FFA down there doing security, do you guys do, like on those nights, do you have your night officers take a stroll through the park and touch base with those guys when they're down there? I'm just curious. It wasn't like a...
So in the past, I've usually been that night guy. This year it's going to be Woodford that's going to be working, so I'll let him know to try to do that as well. So it's never something we've been told to do, but I always took it upon myself to do that, so I'd like to keep that. That way they know if there's something going on that we're there to help them.
Yeah.
I think that fits in nicely with the community policing idea that I know you're in favor of as well, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
Janet got it?
Janet.
Janet's right there. Okay. Okay, let me hand you a couple of things here.
Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome. I'll let you guys split the difference.
Thank you.
thank you.
We are working with Darren at EDH to do the RFP, but there were some questions that I wanted to run by you because of the change in the dollar amounts for the water meters have to go up a little bit due to cost changes, and that meant we're gonna drop the dollar amount a little bit. What was available to do the road? There was interest, and as I talked to Tim and I talked to Mark, there was interest at one time about doing concrete on Colville. We ruled that out because of the vastness of that project. So what you see is an asphalt quote on there in yellow on the top line. There was hope to maybe do concrete on Roosevelt, but with the cost of those two projects in the lower yellow box, you can see it's, no, that's incorrect. Oh, I made a mistake. It's Roosevelt concrete and Colville asphalt.
Is the bottom yellow box?
In the bottom yellow box, yes. My apologies.
Flip those two. Is that right?
Yeah, flip those two, and that number should come out with the two boxes in yellow are. The hope, I think, in going to asphalt on that project for Roosevelt and getting 10 or 15 years out of it, and even if we had to do a chip seal on it somewhere to extend that life, is that we could do some additional skimming, milling, and overlay in other areas of the city. If we do more than asphalt, then we have to do different RFPs, because our vendor, we have a vendor locally for concrete, which is great, that we can do that and seek other bids. But if we mix it, then typically our concrete people don't do both, and our asphalt people don't do both, unless you get to a large company, maybe out of Wichita or something, that could do both. So I want to make sure when we do the RFP, take the effort, we're going the right direction of how you want to address it. You can see that the bond available money, we believe, after the meters is done, is $575,000. If we do concrete on Roosevelt and asphalt on Coble, as maybe thought, it'd be, and this is on the old bid, $560,000. These are old bids; they're not current. We had, I've got estimates from HET and from APAC out of Emporia. So they're a little older, but that's what I used to base the estimate on. The Roosevelt asphalt, you can see, would be less than the concrete by $56,000. And we could do at $11 a square foot, or excuse me, the asphalt, $8.70 a square foot roughly, versus the 11, we can do more asphalt. Maybe we get into the checks edition, is that right, Jeff? Okay, I'm learning these terms, they're very good about helping me learn these things. And then there's some.
Have them teach me your name.
Okay, that's your mission now. You know, and West Roosevelt, or West Santa Fe's got some issues down by, some significant water issues on a couple sides of the road down by the VFW. There's plenty of places that could use a little help in that. So, you know, do we want to do the most for our bang, or, I mean, we can do the concrete, it's fine, it'll finish off all the way, Roosevelt all the way on concrete. You know, if you just can't handle seeing two different services on a road, I understand. But we think that that asphalt in that part of Roosevelt is primarily truck and passenger car usage. It's not heavy duty, semi, et cetera, in that area. So it probably will last a while, but we want to make sure when we ask for the RFP, we do it the way you want it done. So that's why I throw this out at you.
I want to see Roosevelt in concrete the whole way. We've already done it this far in concrete. I'd rather not try and skimp out on the last 2 blocks. That's just my opinion. Coble, I think in asphalt's perfectly fine.
2 blocks is what that 1,060 feet is,
Yes.
approximately.
Yeah.
Just a little devil's advocate. When we first talked about this, we talked about concrete, to just take Roosevelt. I mean, we're really not taking it all the way to the city limits or anything, because it goes to asphalt as soon as you get past Kellison. But it would take it out of the residential area.
Right.
And that was, it made sense to me. Asphalt on that big, long stretch over there on Coble, and then just do those last 2 blocks in concrete. If I was going to argue to the contrary, and I have to admit that it kind of intrigues me a little bit, the idea of doing those 2 blocks in asphalt and doing them the way that we discussed a week or 2 ago, or a meeting or 2 ago in here, where you pour a deeper base on the sides where the trucks and stuff would be pulling up along the roadways and pulling over to drop off packages or whatever, kind of intrigues me. Not because, I mean, aesthetically and whatever, it's probably better the other way, but it would give us more money to try to invest in other places around town. So that would be the argument I was going to make, I would make if I were wanting to argue with Zach.
Brian, do you think this asphalt number for the Roosevelt Street, is that based on a full rip out of the existing asphalt and redoing the base and putting new back in?
No, it's milling.
Yeah.
2-3
That's a
inches
huge
up the
concern of
center.
mine. The more I started thinking about that,
Yeah.
it makes no sense to have, one, we don't have 6 inches of asphalt on the edges of that road already, or in the center, or anywhere. It's at most 4.
And under that's just the base, dirt,
Just your base.
rocks, whatever.
Right.
Okay.
So we're going to be on the sides of the street. Does it make sense to take out all the asphalt and some of the rock and go back with a bunch of asphalt and then leave it thin in the middle where your traffic and your heavy trucks or just vehicles in general are driving?
Well, okay, but if you go drive down it now,
Yeah.
if you just stay on the 2 lanes of traffic, it's not bad. It's just to the sides that it's just falling apart.
Yeah. I disagree with you on it. I drove it and I think the whole thing's falling apart, but.
Go drive Coble and then go drive.
Well, yes, absolutely, yes. Falling apart is a relative term.
This is a real tough question to kind of answer, but what would you expect the life expectancy of the road if it was done in that 2 blocks in concrete versus done that way in asphalt?
10 to 15 years, I think it was Tim's estimate on the asphalt.
Okay.
He said if he felt like it was pretty wavy in the middle, his assessment, you know, then we probably want to go in and just concrete and get rid of it. We got some other places in town that need to have concrete because of the heavy truck traffic involved, and those are just south of Main Street. This street I'm thinking of, just right out of my head. But I'm going to live near it soon.
Well, then what would be
Someone
the
was pointing that
life
out.
expectancy of the concrete compared to that?
I'm sorry?
So what would, comparatively, what would the life expectancy of concrete be? compared to
Double.
that
I
asphalt?
couldn't tell you, but.
Double.
Double it, probably?
Double?
I mean, look at
Yeah.
Lawrence
I don't
Street.
know,
When
I'm
was,
just asking someone that has a little more professional.
when was Lawrence put in?
Long time ago.
And I'm not gonna say that it's great, but I would say that it's one of our better streets in town.
It's a pretty good street.
And when you have to go in and redo concrete, can you go over the top of it with asphalt, or is it something you have to tear completely out and start all over? Depending on how bad it is.
Depends on where
obviously.
you are.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maintenance too, because asphalt you have to maintain more. I don't know, I'm just looking at both sides to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, asphalt, there's gonna be more maintenance in, because you wanna try and crack seal it as you get cracks in those asphalt. I mean, you're gonna crack seal some concrete too.
What do you think, Kevin?
I would probably be in favor of going with concrete on Roosevelt for the last couple blocks as well. Because like I said, I think when you look at parking lots and stuff around, like I said, concrete lasts a heck of a lot longer.
It does.
And I will
And
say,
I know it costs more, but
I think, right, we're talking about that it goes to asphalt in the industrial park.
Yeah.
I think, and we could verify this with Darren, that that is thicker asphalt and thicker base out there because it was an industrial park. So the reason that that's holding up as well as it is because it was built with the intention of it carrying more weight.
and that does seem pretty good from there on
Yeah.
out, you know, past like Route 56 or whatever.
Would we go to Kellison or across Kellison? Whichever way we go. Do we go, just we stop when we get to the edge of Kellison, or does it go on to the north edge of
I think
Kellison?
it would
good
go to
question.
the north side of it.
I would think you want to get through the intersection.
I would think that would be the case. Because if on the north side is where the industrial grade asphalt is, if that's the case, then we'd want to go to that to match.
Well, we need to make a decision, and this is not, frankly, this probably should have put it on the agenda as a decision item, but we've decided to spend this money on roads, but we need to give direction to staff on not which roads, but what to put on those roads or redo those roads with.
We want to get
And
the
you
right
said-
RFP.
And
out.
you said Darren was involved in,
He's going to help us do the scope of the RFP.
okay.
Yeah, we don't have to recreate a whole thing. We can
Right.
use previous language from other ones, but we want to make sure we get the job you want done bid right.
I think
So,
we should be able to have as an alternate a selection of, right, be able to get numbers for both in the RFP, right?
we can do that. We can, yeah, I mean, if they're already on site, you know, then their setup fee or whatever for transporting all their equipment here.
You see what I'm saying? That we
No.
say okay, so we would say, okay, I'll just say, okay, our preference is for Roosevelt to be in concrete and Coble Street to be in asphalt. And we bid it out and we put that as, but then there's an alternate underneath it that is worded that, you know, if the numbers come in right, we would like to see numbers for everything in asphalt. And then we would be able to compare the actual bids when they come back in.
That's fine. Yeah, the asphalt I have on there is just based on the pricing we got for Goble. So I just took the square footage and
Oh,
carried the
yeah.
dollars over. I mean, that seemed the most reasonable, just to give you an estimate.
So like on Coble, you said that was milling that down, but that's 6 inches thick? Yeah, it says by 6 inches.
If you just took it from the bid, it was a 6-inch mill on the edges and a 2-inch mill in the middle, and then
Oh,
going
2.
back and,
Okay, I'm with you now. So it was only 2 inches in the middle. Gotcha.
And we can do that. I can have them bid Coble Street and then in addition, what would it cost to do the extra? Give us 2 figures. That's fine. And then we can bring you the concrete figure and go
Well-
from there on the bid.
Good to have information.
And if we have any, you know, if we do the concrete one and we're set and we're fine, great. Then if we do have any money left over while the asphalt people here, we might see if we can figure out where we could go with that. And they were willing, I think, to leave some of that a little up in the air, knowing that we've got a dollar amount we're trying to reach. And if for any reason, and if there could be $2,000 left over from the water meters, we can dump over to the roadside. we tried to overestimate just a little bit in case there's some additional costs we weren't familiar with because of the way it's set up.
Do you know, Brian, where, or Zach, could you kind of, we're in that field for a while. At what point do we have to say, okay, this has to be next spring?
Pretty quick.
I
So
was gonna say we're probably.
they're gonna close
pretty
that, they'll close their asphalt plant down probably by Halloween, end of October. I mean, it's gonna depend on the weather, but mid-November at the latest, they'll shut their plant down.
So we probably need this on the agenda for a firm decision next meeting.
Unless we say that we're putting it out to bid or putting out for an RFP, basically with an alternate in there to do all of it, right? And then that still just leaves, right, so we can get the RFP out there, have contractors be looking at it.
Right.
And then we come back and we make this decision when we have actual bid numbers in
Right.
front of us.
That's what I meant. You think we can get that done and back in front of us by next meeting?
No.
Cross our
Oh.
fingers, but yeah,
I
it's
don't, I
pretty
mean, we
quick.
gotta, yeah, I don't know how long we wanna
can even have
leave.
it out by Friday.
Yeah, I don't know how, we would wanna leave the contractors some time to be able to come out and
Yeah,
review it and bid it,
Okay.
to get good numbers and try and get maximum
I
response.
would really love to get this done this fall, but I would rather do it the way we want to do it, even if we have to wait through the winter.
Because the other thing you're relying on at this point is contractor availability too, right? Just because somebody bids it doesn't mean that they're bidding it with the intention of starting as soon as we approve it.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
If the original quote, APAC was thinking they could squeeze it in this fall, but if we want to do the concrete, then we have to adjust to it.
So, council, are we directing Brian to get it out there, get the information, and get it back to us as fast as possible? And then we see, I guess if we get a bid and we accept the bid, then we'll at least get it for the amount that we thought we were gonna get it for, but we
Yeah.
don't know for sure when we're gonna get it.
Well, we can attempt to get the bids in by 4:30 PM at the next council meeting, and you can open them in the meeting. We'll see. I don't know if they can do it that fast.
I don't wanna open them in the meeting. You can open them and bring them to the meeting.
That's fine.
How's that?
Yeah, well, however you want to do it.
So, that process sound okay to
Yeah,
everybody?
that's a good idea.
Okay, all right, we'll do the hybrid quote. Concrete is an option, and then all asphalt is the other option. Okay. Okay, understood. Okay. Police department has some vehicles that need to be addressed. One in particular, that we're not using, the Explorer, right? Tahoe, excuse me, the Tahoe, and we're not using it at all. It's completely used up. It needs to be sold, and the money from that needs to go back to the which?
Asset forfeiture.
Asset forfeiture account, so it does not come back to us. It goes back into the asset forfeiture with the police department. So that needs to be done. I don't know if we need to vote to sell that, or if you just head nod that, yeah, we're gonna do that.
So if we're not using it, we're not talking about taking one out of rotation or whatever.
No,
It's
that's
just a-
next. No, we're gonna deal with just this one first.
Is there anything salvageable on it as far as any of the equipment that could possibly use on it?
There may be a handful of lights that are salvageable. They
It's
would
not a
need
big
to
figure.
Do it.
Would it be, not a very big figure financially though? Okay.
No.
Anyone object to the,
What do you estimate we might get?
Since it's gonna go on an auction website, I mean, it's a Tahoe with barely 100,000 miles on it, we might get anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000.
If we're lucky.
Yeah.
well, we don't get the money anyway.
No, we don't.
I say sell it. Anyone object to that?
No, okay.
Okay, then you can do that. Okay. The next one is the spreadsheet I offered you. And that is, for some time now, we've been purchasing salvaged title police vehicles from a company. And that's done us pretty well. but with our new chief, he's asked us to consider used salvage versus new vehicle that would have a full warranty, et cetera, on it. When we buy the used salvage vehicles, we get a 30-day powertrain warranty?
So I
warranty?
I needed to correct that. I did some research on that from the company that we go through in Missouri. He offers a 10,000 miles or 1 year, whichever comes first, limited warranty. So I don't know what the limited warranty covers necessarily, but it is a 1 year or 10,000 miles, whichever comes first. Because all the factory warranties are gonna be gone.
And that's compared to the factory warranties being more 3 or 36,000,
Or 5 year.
or 5 year, 60,000.
Yeah.
Correct.
You can see the two prices, he's got it broke down by, you know, what we might have in miles on the salvage vehicle versus the new vehicle. The upfit cost to make it a police vehicle. Insurance premiums for those vehicles, downtime before deployment, service life and estimated service life in years, estimated resale value after that time is over, depreciation over 9 years estimated, annual maintenance cost estimated, 9-year maintenance cost auto-calculated, cost of ownership over 9 years, and resale after 9 years, and you can get an idea. The question for us is, do we continue the status quo, or, and like right now, we're sending one vehicle out to get the equipment put on it, right?
Yeah.
One we already own.
Yeah, one we
Yeah.
just recently.
To get
got.
it viable. So, and it has to be done by outside service. It's cheaper than we can do it, and then the technical know-how probably gets done faster. Not that they're not good at what they do, but when they want them on the street patrolling and doing their thing, that's a priority.
Yep.
Who did this?
Aaron did this for us.
Is it bad? Because if it's bad, Brian did it.
Well, I'm very impressed. I love it. I mean, this is a very, you know, we
Now he knows my name.
Yeah.
Not Mark did it.
I love it. I mean, this is, if you know, have to make these decisions, the council has, as I understand it, and when the last vehicle we got, it was kind of represented to us that it had been I don't know you'd call it a policy, but it had been the way that things had been done with regard to police vehicles for several years, and you kind of referenced that. So what you would be asking us to consider is taking another course.
It's just, you have options. I prefer you have options to make the best decision possible. Doesn't have to be decided today. You want to mull it over till next meeting, fine. I brought it as part of my report, so it's not here necessarily for a decision today. But versus waiting for another study session, I brought it today so you could see the fine work that Chief Slater did on this form, and all I did was print it.
Is
We
this
did a-
something you're wanting to try and do this year or next year?
Trying to do this year if possible.
We've already purchased one vehicle this year.
Is that right?
So we purchased that 23. The problem that we're running into is the 5th car that we have right now is just a little bit better than the Tahoe. And to be able to get full staff, it's gonna be hard to be able to use that car. It's being used right now, but to take it patrol speeds if need be would be something that I would be a little nervous about. Just given the issues that we have with it.
And how old is that one?
That one is a 2011.
How,
Mileage,
Oh, how many miles?
roughly too?
It's probably right at around 100,000.
I know we have the Impala and the Tahoe that we just talked about. Those are the two oldest ones, I think, right?
Yep.
And then how many, so we have 3 Explorers?
Yep.
Is that right?
3 that we're using right now. The 4th one is in Andover getting upfitted.
How old is our oldest Explorer?
2018, that's the one I drive.
2018?
And it's currently got right under 80,000 on it. But we got that thing with, I think it was around 20,000 miles.
Do you know-
The 19 that we bought that at 40,000 miles.
Do you know what year we purchased that 2018 in? Do you remember?
I think it would have been around 2019 is when Clinton would have bought that vehicle.
Okay.
your goal to have all SUVs or to still have a car in service?
So I'd rather have SUVs just because they don't make police cars in the moment. I mean, the last one that they were making was the Charger, and Dodge went a complete different route. So I would rather have SUVs because of the space. If we were to get a car, we definitely couldn't buy new, unless it was a leftover from previous years that still on the lot somewhere.
Is there an issue too in the winter time with having, I don't know if the SUVs are four-wheel drive or are they not four-wheel drive
They're
or front-wheel drive? They are.
Yeah.
With accessibility getting around in winter conditions versus a car? Not that I guess cars aren't even really available, but.
I mean, Chargers were, the one that we had was an all-wheel drive, and I didn't have any problems with it when I had it, but since we've had SUVs, we haven't had any issues. I think last winter we had a pretty big snow once or twice, and we didn't have any issues with it.
I'd like to, and I've been saying this for a while, but I think something I would like to see, Aaron, is a full-on, and this is just me, equipment replacement plan, right? Like projecting out. I know on here you said we would, if we buy one this year, we wouldn't have to purchase one again until 2027. But seeing, right? Okay, out of the, we know the Tahoe's gone. The Impala we want to replace ASAP. The 2018 we expect to replace it in this year, and all of those. What year we expect to see them? Because it seems like we're buying police cars. I don't know. It seems like we bought one every single year, and obviously we haven't because we only have
So the problem we're gonna
4
run
of
into
them. But
is, because most of your five-man agencies, they're on unless you're Hillsborough and get one every 2 years, they're on a 9-year replacement plan. So that's the patrol car being 9 years old. If we did it the way that, if we did that every 9 years, then next year we wouldn't have to buy one if we bought one this year. But then the following year we would need to replace the 2018 because it's going to have almost 100,000. Then the following year we're going to need to replace the 2019, and then we got the 2020 after that.
3 years in a
So
row.
that's going to be the issue that we would run into. So I don't know if the 9-year plan would work out because we'd have to be kind of buying cars back to back to back. But the thing I want to get away with is not having a car that's 13 years old as a police car, because then you run into possible safety issues going down the road with the suspension, front end going out, or because if we're in a pursuit or something like that, I personally wouldn't want to be in a car that you don't know is going to make it the whole way. Whereas the newer police cars, they have more safety features than what they had before in 2011. So did that answer your question at all? Or?
yeah,
Marion, what Zach has mentioned is something that we have talked about and would like to get to on like all of our vehicles. Not just vehicles, equipment of all sorts, that we have some sort of a plan for the future, always subject to, something crazy happens or something goes out early. But if you can do this, you can come up with a plan. That's what I'm seeing
yeah,
here.
yes.
And it might have to be a modified 9-year plan that takes into account what you know about this vehicle being better than that one or whatever. But if you would be willing, I think it'd be great to take a shot at that, to just give us that to look at. You'd be the guinea pig.
Okay.
And I apologize for saying pig to a police officer.
I don't think anybody would even thought of twice about it if you hadn't said that.
That was the first thing I thought. I don't think we shouldn't make a decision on anything like this tonight anyway, because it needs to get on the agenda as a separate item. But good food for thought, and I guess, Brian, we'll leave it to you when you guys want to bring this back. If you want to bring it in on the agenda, that'd be great.
We'll do that.
Okay.
We'll try to work on a rotational plan, and, since they seem like they're coming together, we gotta find some way to stretch a little bit to try to get some time in between them, however many months we can do.
So the one we did just
Yeah.
purchase is a 23. So we do have some space there between the newest one that we currently have on the road is a 21, or I think it's a 2020, if I remember right. So we do have some space now,
Okay.
but we have 3 of them that are just 3 years apart.
If you want good people, you have to give them good equipment. You have to have them dressed like, you know, if they're police officers, like police officers, whatever. And it's our job to provide the equipment that's needed. So I'm endorsing the idea of coming up with a plan where we can feel like we're doing that, as opposed to just, we'll have these and we'll drive them all till they die and then we'll figure something out. I'd much rather have some sort of a plan that has some sense to it. Anybody else on?
All right, we will do that. I was invited over to the museum the other day and working with Christian from the board and with from the school district. Alicia wasn't there, but he was there. School district.
Justin?
Justin, yes. And
Superintendent?
sorry. Yes, superintendent and
Justin.
his head maintenance guy for their facilities. We're still getting some water runoff. I don't know what it looked like after yesterday's rain, but they're still getting some water in the basement. Probably 85% of it's being diverted with their current system of connected irrigation, we'll say, off the roof. They're also looking at maybe we need to do something to widen the rain gutters up there. They're getting old. They need to see if they can. He's going to try to do the calculations to see what their water runoff is from the tower and from the roof, so we can maybe better move that water as well. But we're still getting water coming down the hill. We looked at it possibly putting in some kind of heavy-duty rock to maybe try to divert some of that water down towards the street or towards the garden area. This is just FYI. My goal for this is to find out what you think, not now, but eventually, working in partnership with the cost expense with the school district to help take care of that or not. It is on their property. We could say, no, we don't care. You know, but do we want to try to do something with them since we are responsible for the museum? So think about that. You know, we can come back once I get pictures and they're going to try to get a cost estimate too put together, but I want you to know that we're working on that. So to try to remediate it. They did get their bids in for doing the basement stuff. They've applied for the grant as they said they would on time. And so we'll see how that comes out if the grant gets awarded here further in the fall. We're going to have a team Marion leadership meeting. That's all our department heads and I on September 10th. I've invited the mayor to that. And I can't invite all of you at once because it's a board meeting. So, but we'll get you some results of whatever we talk about. And then maybe we can do that on a rotational basis. And I know that we've talked individually that maybe the department you're kind of overseeing or working with, we can do some individual schedule meetings along the way so that we can get you involved in that process and what we're looking at.
Told you I'd get back to you on that. You said September 10, right?
Yes, sir.
I cannot be there, so somebody else ought to
Okay.
go.
It's 2:30 to 3:30 upstairs.
Yeah, I'm in Gary County from 9 till
Okay.
2:45.
So if any one of you would like to fill that gap,
It's a
that'd be
big
fine.
gap.
What time?
2:30 to 3:30. That school get out time or?
If I have to, I can do it, yeah.
If I
Okay.
have to.
Well,
I mean,
I'll
if
make
you
it. I
can't, you
get
can only
full-
come for half of it or something, that's fine,
Okay.
you know, well,
I can be there.
okay, okay.
You
Thank
meeting in the meeting room upstairs?
Upstairs, yes. Okay. I don't have an agenda completely set for that. I've got a couple things I know I want to talk about, and then we'll go from there. There'll probably be other things that pop up between now and then. But we had one when I first got here in July, right? First week of July, I think. So we're due to get together again. And not that we're not communicating regularly, because they're excellent at that. And if I got something, I can shoot an email to them, or if we do a work order on, they're pretty quick to take care of stuff. So
I would really love if we could get those on a quarterly schedule, and I'd like to just participate in all of them. It'd be
Okay.
so much like what I set up in the court with all the department heads and
Sure.
stuff, so.
That's fine. We can we'll get a regular schedule figured out on how we want to do that. I kind of just been as needed at the moment with everything else that's going on.
Absolutely, totally understand.
Yeah, but we can do that. The Central Park merry-go-round is going to be moved to the city shops so it can be further evaluated and get it out of the way so that we can do the grass trimming and things. And for safety reasons, have it off the property with Art in the Park and then
Old Settlers Day.
Old Settlers, thank you, yes. Just want to say class reunion, but it's kind of that too. Anyway, so that'll be moved off the property.
So when your old classmates and stuff start screaming that we took that out, it's being taken out and hopefully will be restored and put back in. We'll just have to see.
And they were supposed to have some numbers on that later this week, so
Oh.
I'll reach out to them.
Excellent. I'm not sure what day they're gonna move it. Tim said they'd take care of it. I'll have him let me know. If we can get a photo of them driving it somewhere, then we'll post that, so people can have publicly have a way to know where it's relocated and why. So, yeah. I want to thank the teams doing a great job. The sign for Art in the Park that went up looks great. They were quick to get that done. They've been working on tree trimming in town. Everybody's got something going on, the chlorine burnout, everybody's working hard. They're in getting work orders, we're turning stuff pretty quick. We're getting fields some requests off of things we're posting on Facebook, turning around, doing a work order on those are getting addressed. You know, as long as it's in our jurisdiction and our responsibility, we're taking care of it. So I'm very pleased with all your efforts, and those that aren't here get the same appreciation. But anyway, they're working hard at it, so keeping things moving. And that's what I have for tonight, unless you have questions.
And when questions, or you just want to yell at Brian, he's here for that too.
My name might be Mark at that
Or
point.
Mark, yeah, Brian or Mark.
We'll start with you, Amy.
I don't have anything this week.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Couple things I had, they're kind of small, but we talked earlier when we purchased the last truck, the pickup, about getting signage on the trucks, you know, City of Marion. You weren't here at the time, but I don't know, some of those trucks, or our newest electrical truck, boom truck, has got new signs on, new sticker decals on it, so just kind of following up on that, seeing where that's at.
Yeah, I sent you a proposal for a modified city logo. We're not paying to put anything on those until we get that done, but it's, at the mayor's request, we're gonna bring that design for discussion at the next study session at the end of October. So bring your thoughts on that. I did have noticed that our rock sign out on 56 and then our sign in front of City Hall have a different color scheme than we're using, so maybe good idea. We'll try to match that scheme since those are probably more expensive to replace. And then so we get some uniformity. And so that's the goal. So I haven't paid to put something on there. If you want something on there temporarily, I can do that. But the thought was, let's do it right the first time and not have to wax on, wax off. So,
Sounds like a good idea.
okay,
I very much like the idea of continuity. We have a logo, let's put our logo on, as opposed to having one that's just block letters and one that's a different font and
right.
whatever. Yeah.
So as soon as we nail down what we want to do on that modification, and the team's been liked what we did so far, and we'll get it uniform everywhere. So, and get those vehicles done. I know we want that. We want to have it done.
And then, so thanks for working on that. One other smaller thing is, at the park, before the arts, hopefully before Arts in the Park, now I've noticed a lot of the bulbs on the lights, the actual fixtures, some are really, I don't know if they're dirty or if they're like half full of water or half full of flies, I don't know. But it might be
Those
something.
round
Yeah, the big bulbs.
The globe.
There's a few of them that look like they could use some attention, so just, it might be
Okay.
good to address them before the two big upcoming events, see if there's any issues with them, so.
Okay.
Tell him.
What?
Those are globes, not bulbs.
I knew I was gonna say it. Globe, that's why I said fixtures. So,
We knew what you meant.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
You seconded? All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Can I use your